Hi friends, this is Kim from Creative DIY Purpose, wishing you a Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays. Today I'll share with you how to create some festive, budget-friendly holiday decor using scrapwood and book pages. You can create these to sell, give as gifts, or to decorate in your own home. So for our first project, we're going to make some wooden Christmas trees out of a wood pine plank that I had left over from a larger project. They're cut in 4 different sizes, and then the taller trees have a wooden stand that we're going to apply with some wood glue. That way they can stand on their own. And for the smaller ones, we'll glue them together so that the bases will make their own stand. So I decided to paint a third of them white, a third of them green, and then apply some antique wax from Waverly to the rest of them, and then allow them to dry. For the first tree, I decided to use the Frosty Forest rice paper from Dixie Belle. I want to use this cute little bear. All right, so I didn't like the way that white was popping off of the English ivy green. So I cut around the edges. I applied the image using some of the decoupage gel from ReDESIGN, and I like it much better. So I grabbed a few bells and some jute twine. I'm going to wrap it right along the top. I do take some hot glue when I'm finished and tack it along the back to ensure that it stays in place. I do take the sander and lightly go around the edges for a distressed look, and I added some copper gilding wax lightly around the edges as well. I made this gift for my oldest son, who's actually flying home for Christmas, and I'm so excited. All right, let's decorate 3 of the smaller white trees. We're going to use the Nordic Noel rice paper from Dixie Belle. I applied it with some decoupage gel from ReDESIGN. I absolutely love these. I decided to keep them. The snow glitter I purchased at Walmart. I mixed it in with some decoupage gel from ReDESIGN. I brushed it on in 3 layers so that the glitter wouldn't flake off. Now to decorate the large white tree, taking a wooden snowflake ornament that I purchased from the Dollar Tree, I'm applying decoupage gel over the top of the entire snowflake. Then I applied a generous amount of the glitter snow to the top, and I do that step twice. So this tree I'm making for my daughter. So I thought I would take some sheer ribbon that I purchased from the Dollar Tree a while back, tied it into a bow for the front. I cut the ribbon in half in the back and applied some decoupage gel so that the ribbon would lay flat on the sides and in the back. I attached the snowflake using some clear fishing line. And I'm not sure where I got this stick-on vinyl from. It might have been the Dollar Tree, but I thought it would look cute up at the top and down at the bottom. I don't show it here, but I do apply some of that snow glitter from the top of the tree down to the ribbon. Last step is to apply the stand onto the back using a generous amount of Gorilla Wood Glue. So these wooden trees, you can decorate them for Christmas like I'm doing, or you can keep them simple and display them all winter long. And here's another idea on how you can style them. These are glued together, did them in different heights, different colors, applied a ReDESIGN Christmas transfer, added some bells and some greenery. This is another set that I did. This I decided to do in the English ivy from Dixie Belle and some antique wax. I staggered them, applied wood glue, and then added a stand to the tall one, and you can display these any way that you want. And this next one I made for my youngest son. He loves hot cocoa. These were glued together. The hot cocoa transfer came from ReDESIGN, added some jingle bells on with some twine, and then glued a stand to the back. All right, so this next project is super easy. They're vintage inspired wood blocks. These are made out of scraps of 2x4s that I had from previous projects. Painted them using apple barrel acrylic paint. This napkin I purchased from Walmart, I believe last year. They came in a huge set, but I really like them. Think they have a vintage look. Make sure before you decoupage using a napkin that if it's 2-ply, you take off that back part. I always save it to use for future projects. Here, next, brush on a thin layer of the decoupage gel. I love this stuff. Goes on nice and easy. Try to center the Merry Christmas so it was in the middle. Press it down. I wanted a little bit of that design to go up on the top and the bottom. Smoothing out any air bubbles. I don't mind a little bit wrinkles in a homemade project like this. And if you don't have a scrap 2x4, you could use any block of wood for this, or even a thrifted item like a wooden box, or even a plain plastic or metal container. Once I get all the edges cut and glued down, get to do my favorite part, and that is add the bottle brush trays that I purchased from the Dollar Tree, drilling a little hole. So I did take the pliers and cut the base of that off because it would have been too high. These little mini trees are really cute, but that I have to leave on a wood base. So I'm going to apply that on using some wood glue. I do pull that white tree off and put a little glue on the base of it, just so it will adhere a little bit better. And then applied some glue to a little plastic berry. I think I bought those years ago from the Dollar Tree and had them in my supplies. All right, next, snow glitter. Usually I'm very anti-glitter in this. I don't know what it was about making things for this Christmas, but I don't think I could apply enough of it. So I brush on some of the decoupage gel, sprinkle on some of the glitter, and I did go over the top when I was done with the decoupage gel to seal in the glitter. With the recent lack of daylight hours, I've decided to use the quiet evenings and try a learning path offered over at Skillshare. Learning paths are curated classes designed to help you reach a specific goal. I'd like to thank Skillshare for sponsoring today's video. I'm excited to try this one on how to open an Etsy store. So this particular learning path has 4 classes taught by different instructors, all working together to help you reach your goal. You can even take multiple classes at a time and take them from the comfort of your home or on the go. If there's a topic that you're interested in learning more about, chances are Skillshare has a class for you. I think you'd enjoy this creative community. I've posted the link below, and the first 500 people to join Skillshare using my link will get 1 month premium for free. So next, let's make a paper wreath using book pages. Here's a list of materials and tools that I used if you'd like to take a screenshot. Now my pages are on the tinier side. I want to say they're roughly 3 inches by 5, maybe 6 inches. If you don't want to use a book, here are some suggestions on other paper items that you can use. All right, so step 1, you'll want to gather all of your materials and tools. Step 2, prepare your book pages. If you use a wide mason jar band, you're going to roughly want 36 pieces of paper. For this project, I used the larger screw band, but you can easily use the smaller one. You can also use smaller book pages and probably even larger ones. Here's a side-by-side comparison of two wreaths. Both I made using the wide screw band off of a mason jar. The difference is the size of the paper that I used. So after you've torn out your book pages and trimmed them off, let's take a pencil right in that center point of the page, and you're going to wrap and twist each page. And then I just put mine in a pile until I have 36 of them. So once you have a pile of around 36 of them, you're ready to glue one row on the inside of your mason jar band. Be sure not to overcrowd them because your pages are going to fluff up, but continue to go along on the inside of the band. You're probably going to use about 16, 17. So after I get that inside row glued, I lay it down flat, I pull up any of the glue strings, fluff them up. I also am pulling on them gently to make sure that I have them glued in there really well. Now I'm fluffing them up, seeing if I need to add any more or if I need to rip one off and, place it someplace different. Actually did pretty good there. Okay, so the glue strings drive me nuts, but I'll get them all off when I'm done. Now you're going to glue on the outside of that rim. And just continue to put some glue on there, and I do hold them into place. And again, you want to make sure that you're not crowding them too much, using an equal distance. And the flat part of the band, you'll notice, is going to be the back side of your wreath. And we'll cover that up in the next step. Once your pages are glued onto the band, you want to take each one and fluff it up. Make sure it's nice and full. And then you'll want to grab twine or ribbon or whatever you want to use and just tie it on anywhere. This is going to be a hanger for your wreath. And if you don't want it to show, you can definitely make it lower. I think I made this one kind of long. All right, let's cover up that band on the back. I use this cord ribbon that I purchased from the Dollar Tree. Boy, it glued on nice and easy. Sometimes ribbon doesn't like to bend, but this actually worked out really well. So you've got a few options at this point. Your book wreath is done. You could leave it plain and decorate it. You could leave it just plain. Here I'm adding some paint in with a water spray bottle, because I found that this is an easier way to paint them. I've done it in the past with antique wax, and they've actually sold very well. So here I'm just taking English Ivy from Dixie Belle, adding it to a spray bottle, and that is how I'm going to paint it. It's okay to soak your pages too. It will, when they dry, it actually gives them a really nice texture and makes them more durable. The only challenge that I can tell you is sometimes the pages will stick together when they dry. I cheat and I lay down parchment paper in my dehydrator and put them on the shelves and dry them that way. All right, so I decided to add some gilding wax to this one since it is for Christmas. I wanted to add some shimmer, but you could add glitter. You could even use some gold paint. I've done that in the past. And the wreath at this point is dry. I love the texture of the paper after it dries. I decided for this one to glue on a ribbon and 3 little Christmas balls. In the past, I have added a bow and some berries and sometimes like a tag. So this was the first time adding the balls. You guys will have to let me know what you think. Here's one that I did a couple years ago using gold paint and the berries. Next, I am going to make a banner using book pages. So I did make up some patterns, and I use these every time that I'm going to make this size banner. And that craft paper one is backed up on cardstock because I use it often. All right, so you are going to want equal numbers of the plain cardstock craft paper, which I'm doing now, or you can use a brown paper bag, and equal number of book pages. The book pages I glued onto the cardstock for durability, and then we're going to glue them onto the craft paper. All right, so the cardstock is for stability for the book page. Now, this part, I have skipped it in the past. It depends on the thickness of your book page and the thickness of your brown paper. Or make your cardstock backing the same size as the craft paper if you're worried that the edges are going to curl. All right, so I want my banner to say joy, and I want it a little bit longer than just 3 pages. So I'm going to do a design on either side. These ink stamps are the typesetting ones from IOD. And the stamp that I'm applying now came from a set with pine cones that I got a few years back. I think it's like holly and ivy. All right, so I'm going to go old school here, and I'm going to steal some of my daughter's crayons. Got a red one and a green one. We're going back to the basics here, and I'm going to add some color. You could do this with watercolor. You could do it with paint. You could leave them as is, or you could use rub-on transfers, which is what I used on this one for over the electric fireplace. I did not use the backing. I only used the craft paper. I did an ink stamp of a Christmas song, added 2 transfers, and the word joy, and some bows. So here's another idea for you, and this one is much quicker. I wanted to take and add a little color to the letters. So I made the O kind of look like a wreath, holly and some berries. And then for the letters J and Y, I took the red crayon and went lightly over that just for a little pop of color. All right, so we're almost done. Now it's time to glue our book pages onto the cardstock. And I found the best thing to use for me, at least, is a glue stick. And I like the purple one that does dry clear. That way I can see if I missed any spots. I line it up, make sure it's on there even. Sometimes you do have to take a pair of scissors and trim off some excess. Then smooth out any wrinkles, flip it over, and apply a generous amount of glue stick onto the back of the cardstock, because we're going to take that and glue it right onto the craft paper. I was using the hole punch so that the craft paper wouldn't curl. Get that into position and smooth it out. I actually took a piece of scrap craft paper to smooth out any of the bubbles. So after they have a chance to dry, and I've touched up any areas around the edges that needed more glue, take your hole punch and add 2 holes to the top, because we're going to take some twine to be able to hang up our banner. Once I get them an equal distance from each other, then I will flip them over, add 1 piece of Scotch tape to keep the twine in place. Just make sure you leave enough on the ends to be able to hang it. I'm going to take this ribbon, make a simple bow, make sure that they're even, because I want to place something over the J and the Y, because I kind of feel that it's kind of plain. So I make 2 of those, and I was going to hot glue them, and then I thought, you know what, this needs something else. So I'm going to grab my copper gilding wax and go right around the edges of the book pages and on the craft paper to add a little shimmer. Unfortunately, there was some excess on my brush, and I got really heavy on the first design over on the left hand side, which you'll definitely notice it probably in the final pictures. I did try to go back over them, to add a little bit more, but I don't think I was very successful with that. All right, finally, we're at the final step. And take some hot glue, tack that onto the bow. Guess I should have told you guys in the beginning. So from beginning to end of this project to the time that I hung it up, it took an hour for me to do it. But it did have a couple interruptions, so I could have probably done it in a little less time. Friends, I want to thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope that you have a beautiful Christmas and a very happy holiday.